Welcome to another episode of Just Open It, the YouTube series in which I open recently acquired toys. My name is Russ. Thank you very much for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. If you're a fan of toys, action figures, collectibles, pop culture in general, please subscribe to my channel here, Karaoke Fanboy TV. Every week I will be opening a recently acquired collectible, and this week I am opening Captain Dathon from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Captain Dathon was in exactly one episode of Star Trek, called Darmok, my favorite episode, which is why I picked up this character. In that episode, Dathon's race, the Temerians, encounter the Federation for the first time, and the Enterprise and Captain Picard have a really hard time understanding their language. Their language is basically metaphor or very short synopses or snippets from stories, myths, parts of their history. And if you don't know those tales, you can't understand what they're saying. So when the hailing frequencies initially open and they just can't communicate, Dathon eventually evokes Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra, which is apparently a story about two people trying to find common ground in the face of challenge. So with that, Captain Picard is kidnapped, beamed down to a planet. The Enterprise cannot beam him up, because the Temerian ship is preventing it. So Dathon and Picard are on this planet together, and they have to face this mysterious beast that, just as Picard is finally kind of understanding what's going on, unfortunately, spoiler alert, that beast gets the upper hand and kills Dathon. So Dathon sacrifices his life to build this bridge between his people and the Federation. In the end of the episode, the Enterprise is able to beam up Picard. He's able to reach out to the Temerian ship, express his understanding of their language. And in the end, Riker asks him, have we just made some new friends? And Picard says, I don't know, but they're definitely not enemies. And I so love this episode because it emphasizes that the baseline of communication is story, is shared experience, is culture, is metaphor. I just so absolutely love that theme. And by extension, then, that is my favorite episode of this beloved series. So I just had to grab this guy, even though he's dead in the kind of continuity of Star Trek, his sacrifice will be honored on my action figure shelf. I did buy him at Zia, which is a local media exchange here, books, records, toys, comics, that kind of thing. Picked him up for $5.99. But you can see from that price tag, at some point, somewhere else, he was going for $5. And then his original Toys R Us price tag is here. And I don't know if you could see that, but he was going then for $4.49. That was 30 years ago. This figure came out in 1993. So his value has stayed pretty consistent over the last 3 decades, somewhere between $4.50 and $6. So, I think it was about time that I pick him up before inflation gets the better of me here. So, that said, I'm just going to tear into this guy. I'm going to open this 30-year-old heir that was captured here in this bubble. And let's just see what kind of stuff he comes with. This character is made by Playmates Toys, who is best known for producing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures and toys from my youth. But they snagged the Star Trek license, and boy, did they run with it, man. I don't know if there is any single character in the breadth of the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. I think they did Voyager as well. Man, it just seems like so many characters came out, and they're pretty readily available on the secondhand market. You can see, I don't know if this is a wave or a bunch of waves here, but just a lot of figures there that are available at this time. So, looks like we have this kind of base for him to stand on here. Get that out. Collector's card, which was pretty common at the time. Featuring actor, Paul Winfield. Forgive me for not nailing that, but pretty close for not looking it up. Great actor, actually appeared in a few different incarnations of Star Trek, I believe, and a lot of other stuff that we all kind of love from this time. So, great performance in this episode. considering that he isn't saying anything we understand. It's very emotive. And again, I just love it. I love everything about that episode. I remember very vividly seeing it for the first time and just my imagination being kind of captured by the theme and the nature of their language. So, okay, he comes with this kind of flaming branch, which I think, if I remember correctly in the episode, maybe he tosses at Picard when Picard's feeling cold. You know, like he was able to start a fire, Picard can't get it, so he tosses literally almost like an olive branch to Picard, and there it is. A couple of blades here, one of which Picard got to keep at the end of the episode as kind of a keepsake of the adventure, and then this kind of logbook of his race's stories and legends, I suppose, kind of the basis of their language. And at the end, Picard and Dathon get their own entry in this, and Picard kind of becomes a part of their language. You know, Picard and Dathon on whatever planet they were on. So here's the guy. I'm just laughing because it's like, what a bizarre character. He appeared in one episode, and you get it. That was enough to get an action figure, and the points of articulation are there. The Star Trek guys kind of had these weird shoulder joints. I mean, they're effective, but they were kind of like bizarre cut here at an angle. But there he is. I do like that there's this sheath in the front for his blade, so that's pretty cool. So that could go there. And then on my shelf, I think he will be holding this flaming branch, which after 30 years isn't quite fitting in his hand. Okay, I'm going to figure that out later. I'm not going to bore you guys with that, but blade here. Let's see, maybe the Book of Legends could go in that hand for now, and he stands on this base. Maybe all the figures in this wave, or at this time, were coming with little bases. They were actually. The bridge crew came with Starfleet insignia bases, so that's kind of coming back to me now. I guess they made that indicative of every character in the Star Trek line. They came with some sort of emblem or planetary base like that to help them stand. But there he is in all of his glory, Captain Dathon, who did not survive the Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra exercise that built the bridge between his race and the Federation, but here he stands in memoriam, and I'm very excited to add him to my Star Trek shelf. Memorable character, incredible episode. I highly recommend that you watch it. Even if you're not a fan of Star Trek, it definitely does express themes of communication and culture and an attempt at kind of compromise between two differing groups of people. Thanks again for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram, if you don't mind, at Amazing AZ Comics, to see posts about the toys and comics that I love, and the mini comics and zines that I self-publish. I do self-publish a mini comic book series called Amazing Arizona Comics that satirizes local news, history, and culture with superhero adventure. You certainly don't have to live in Arizona to get all the jokes. And so I'd appreciate seeing you over there on Instagram. Tune in next time right here on YouTube when I grab another unopened toy from the pile here in my living room and I say, you know what? Just open it. I'll catch you next time. And for my Tamarian friends out there, Russ and his unopened toys on YouTube.